really know what's going on over there other than everybody's dumb.
The instant you step out of line, you say something that they don't like and they don't like you personally, they're going to use all those pre-existing laws and they're going to use it on you.
A woman exposed her male genitalia to women and underage girls. That's what happened.
It's pure propaganda and it's super cringe, by the way. It's super cringe.
Something or other, we are back. Lewis Brackpool, Eric Butler. I'm in what Lewis officially referred to as a trans room, given the pink and white background. How are you guys?
Amazing.
Very well. How are you guys?
Well, I'm doing very well, thank you. Eric, how's the weather down there? We should have
it's getting
every
hot.
episode with the weather.
It's getting hot. I'll be honest with you, I'm a little nervous, okay? When I lived in South Dakota, I had never experienced minus 18. I don't know, it probably gets cold like that in Toronto. So that was scary, but now it looks like in the next couple of weeks, bro, it's going to be like regularly high 90s, low hundreds, which I don't know what that is for Canada. 30,
probably, and the
25.
UK, probably like 30.
It's nice. Nice.
Lewis, what's it like over there? Raining, Lewis?
No, it's been clear skies recently, which has been very good down in the south of England. I think it's roughly been around sort of 13, 14 degrees. So it's pretty chilly still, but manageable. Still wear a nice coat when I go outside. Yeah.
It's about 10 here, it hasn't warmed up here yet. Raining,
Nice.
hailing.
So would that'd be like 40 for us?
A bit higher than that, I'd say.
Okay. All right. So
Maybe
all
50.
Right. Anything lower than 40 is like, all right, that's cold.
I got a great story for you guys that I got shit on by a bird earlier today. That's what everybody's telling me. I've never heard that. You're the third person to say that. We bought a new TV for really no reason. Excess, I guess. And then we're putting it into a car and I just hear this splat. And I'm like, I thought it landed right in front of me because there was a bird stain on the ground in front of me. And then I get around to the other side of my car and there's a big bird stain on the side of the car. And I guess I rubbed up against it. I don't know if it shit on me already. This is why people tune into this live stream for the news.
Bless you.
And that's basically what happened to me today. We almost got the TV for free. I should say we could have if we were bad people. They put it to the front of the Walmart for us, and when we got there, they said, "Oh, somebody told us you already paid for it, so you could have just walked out with it." And we're just like, "Damn!"
Oh,
I guess
that's
good people.
Poor form.
What's the scene looking like in Walmart now as far as the masks are concerned? What's the ratio?
Well, this is a new Walmart we're at now, because we just moved, hence the background here and the angle. And I wanted an angle where you guys could just see my whole body as much as possible.
Well, now you can't wear the same shirt twice. You're gonna have to up your wardrobe. People are gonna.
And now I can't be pantsless either, which is also a troublesome thing. Walmart, for better or for worse, this area has a lot more Indian and Chinese people, and it's the Chinese people that keep wearing masks the entire time. Whereas the Walmart I used to go to is a lot more white and black people, so fewer people, I feel like, whatever that means, I don't know what it means, but fewer people wearing them there as they are down here. But this Walmart I like much better, and my friend told me it reminds him of like the 90s. The aisles are nice and wide, the colors are out of date. It's not your standard Walmart setup, how all of them are the same. So it's very different. I like it. It smells a lot like bread because the bread part is right in the front of the store.
Is that the Subway?
And
is there a Subway in front? Yeah.
No, we all of our Walmarts here have McDonald's in them.
That's strange.
So it's just, do you have stores inside of stores in England, Lewis?
I think we have somewhere called Asda. I don't know if you've heard of Asda, but I think that doesn't exist for you guys. That's like a made up thing. But we have a made up shop called Asda here in England, and I think some Asdas around this made up place called England as well have McDonald's as well inside, which is pretty strange because stores within a store. It's very weird.
Yeah,
there's Starbucks in all the Targets.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, got all
There was
them.
a thing I saw once, Eric, where this mega church somewhere in the south had a Subway in it because they had so many people that go there. They had a food court inside this church.
Oh, Subway is just the worst though. Like I mean, we've
What?
talked about it. Yeah, Subway's the worst. Even this is just a weird thing, and I know we're not talking about news at all, but one of my buddies from college back in the day, he told me I had one bad experience at Subway, and I was like, I'm not going back ever in life. But he told me he used to work at Subway, and he said never order the tuna, and I was like, well, that makes sense. Like, of course you don't order tuna at Subway. And just really quick, as far as the mask thing. No shade here, Susan, whatever. But you'll notice that even pre-Rona in New York, I'm not even talking about China. I've never been to China, but pre-Rona in New York, you would see a lot of Chinese people already wearing masks. So they
Yeah,
are
It's fair.
It's part of their
kind of-
culture, isn't it?
Yeah,
In
yeah, I
the-
think
in
so.
in the East Asian culture, they've been wearing masks for a long time for public transport and things like that. I think that's pretty normal.
Since like the 600s, I think.
I don't know about that, but
Don't know
it's
about
just
that
I don't know.
one,
They're so densely populated, I guess. But if you go on that Canal Street station, which is arguably one of the most disgusting stations in all of New York, they're. I mean, and come on, guys. You remember my old stories, bro? Like I'm talking.
You know
about
the video, Eric? The video of the two guys in the subway?
Well, there's a couple of them. Which one are you
Okay, the
referring
two
to?
guys on the bench.
Yes, I know that one. It got banned off Instagram. And then I saw it on Telegram. And it's like a car wreck. It's like a train wreck, I should say. Like you don't want to be watching this, but then you're like, is this really happening? And then it was. And then he comes up for air and puts his mask on.
Do you want to describe to Lewis what one we're talking about?
Oh, no
Or
idea.
should we save that for off air.
Yeah, look.
Is it not air friendly?
It's
No.
I can do it. I can do it.
Okay,
You
go
can
ahead.
do it.
There's two gentlemen on a subway platform bench at the Times Square station, I believe, which is Times Square, obviously one of the more populated stations, and the guy is sort of, we'll say, pleasuring the other guy,
Right.
and and then as he takes his head out, because I think maybe they might have heard the sound, or
what is he doing?
Yeah, it's like a prison style thing, maybe like a little tossed salad type of thing.
Right. Okay.
But as he comes up for air, or like maybe they hear something, so they just stop.
What does
So
that? That sounds mental. I don't know what.
It's terrible. But the craziest part about it is not that they were doing this weird sexual act on the train platform, because they just couldn't get. I assume they were going to the Bronx. That's a very Bronx thing to do, right? That's not Brooklyn.
Is it?
So I assume, shout out to all my homies from the Bronx, but I assume they're going to the Bronx and they just couldn't wait. And the creepiest part of the video, and I don't know if we'll ever be able to find it. I'm sure it's been like scrubbed from the internet because it's that disgusting. But that when he comes up for air, he literally takes his mask from his chin and puts it back over his face after he had that very same face in the crotch, let's say, of another gentleman. And two black guys on the Times Square platform. But I don't know how we got so far off into this realm of.
We're on Spotify now, by the way. So welcome, new Spotify listeners.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get a warning. We'll get a big warning of I don't know, because we will certainly get into loads of truth in this episode, which will garner us the warning that we so deserve.
Yeah, let's go to England with this Boris stuff, Lewis, and then we'll get into your documentary here. So tell us what we're looking at here.
Yeah. So, well, as I've tweeted out, Boris Johnson's refused to rule out another lockdown due to potential variants in the future. One that he does actually describe as well that could potentially harm children. And of course, we know recently that Boris has actually turned around and said, well, we're rolling out to 5 to 11-year-olds that, I don't want to get banned or anything. So it's funny how that sort of tied up very nicely with what he was saying with variants. But yeah, if you click to the right of that post, you have the video and Boris actually saying it.
Do we have the sound?
I already downloaded the video. Here we go.
I want to avoid any such thing ever happening again, and I can't rule out something, Esther. I can't, say that we wouldn't be forced to do non-pharmaceutical interventions again of the kind that we did. I think it would be irresponsible of any leader, in any democracy, to say that they're going to rule out something that could save life. And I believe that the things that we did saved lives. There could be, I've got to be absolutely frank with you, there could be a new variant, more deadly. There could be a variant that affects children badly, that we really need to contain.
Look at that.
I'm not going to take any options off the table, but I don't think it will happen. I think we're now in the phase of, and this is the view of all the advisors I talk to, that we're now in the phase where the virus is losing its potency overall, and we've got a massively vaccinated.
So the virus is losing its potency, quote unquote. Boris Johnson, don't kill me, you two. But it's also getting more dangerous at the same time.
Yeah, very weird, very contradictive stuff. And obviously talking about the lockdowns as well, saying that it could save life. Well, if we just think back to what the lockdowns have actually done, it's put us in probably the worst living standards since the 50s here in England and the rest of the United Kingdom as well. So that's caused a lot of concern for people. Cost of living is up, tax burden is up, everything's up, national insurance is up. And not only that, with the lockdowns, I mean, it's easy for, a nice middle class family with a lovely garden to say, brilliant, another 2 weeks off work. But then you think back to all the people in flats, council houses who were scared to go outside, who were basically manipulated into staying indoors for God knows how long. I mean, it was 3 weeks to flatten the curve, and then obviously it turned into 2 years. So, yeah, I don't know. It's absolutely mental that he would have the gall to turn around and say, yeah, no, it would save lives in the long run. We've seen it. We've seen the effects of lockdown in this country. They don't work, and they've damaged the British people. And I believe that the British people deserve better than to someone to go and do this all over again, or to potentially even do it all over again, even though Boris has already promised that he wouldn't do this again, and they let the Coronavirus Act expire, so they've said, and they've said that they'll rule out doing that ever again and that they will never do it again. But I mean, he's now on an exclusive interview with GB News explaining to people what you've just heard, which doesn't make any sense. So I don't know. Thoughts, gentlemen?
Well, it sounds to me like they are clearly getting this script right, because Fauci has come out of his little wormhole or whatever to say pretty much the same thing. Didn't he say something along the lines of, well, we have to be prepared. Now, I don't want this to happen. I'm not saying that it should happen, but it could. So it was very similar. It's like, well, of course you have to preface that. So they kind of lighten it up by saying, well, I don't want it to, but it could. And it's like, well, dude, we can see. Like they're talking to us almost as if we're all like blind. It's like, bro, we can see you. You're standing right there. We're not all quite as dumb as you think we are. And it kind of falls in line with what we're seeing right now, with this last little string of American politicians to magically test positive. So Hillary Clinton came down with it a couple weeks ago. Psaki,
Kamala Harris.
Oh, how could I forget about Kamalto? How could I forget? I don't know how long ago that was, but it comes up.
That was like 2 days ago, because remember, she was supposed to go to Hong Kong, and then China says don't go to Hong Kong, and then all of a sudden she's got actually it was Taiwan, I think, Taiwan or Hong Kong.
Well, that was Pelosi, right?
She got who did I say? Kamala?
Yeah.
Whatever. They're all opening their crypts at any point during the day.
Kamala's husband had it. Remember that? Kamala's husband had it, and now Eric Adams has it. And it's very strange as to how they totally talk out of both sides of their mouth every single time. So Pelosi's got it, Eric Adams has it, and it's super scary. You're all gonna die, but also, this is how they're selling the juice now. This is how they're selling the shot or whatever, is to say, yes, I got it, but it would have been worse if I didn't get it, which is totally unprovable. Yeah. And they've said it. We've seen them say this, at least half a dozen times now, and it doesn't make any sense at all. But I mean, what else do we expect from these people that throw things at the wall constantly? And we saw it even before Rona, not to harp on old things, but I still think that sometimes people forget because Rona has essentially been the Great Reset, is kind of already happened, in my opinion, just from a mental point of view, because people don't remember what happened in 2019. But like I said last week, I think it was, or maybe 2 weeks ago, they'll tell you Russia, 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 Russia for 3 years, over 3 years, and they drop Russia like a hot potato, pivot to Ukraine, and then say we need to impeach him on Ukraine. So it's like they just continue to throw things at the wall and think that we're all really stupid. And granted, there are a lot of stupid people out there, but I think even if you talk to a handful of people in deep blue LA, I know this is true in the hood in Brooklyn. You talk to the people that you think might just automatically vote Democrat because they live in a project in East New York or whatever, and then they'll be like, dude, this doesn't make any sense. Though, like, I think the hood is the hood sees all the way through it, and there's this little tiny demographic of like hipsters that are still buying it. I'm not really sure who's still buying all this stuff. It's very strange.
I found it interesting that he's saying that, like, I don't think it would be right of any democratically elected leader to not lock down their people. Like, that doesn't make much sense. Like,
No.
you don't think it would be right that a person in a democratic country tells people that they can't leave their house or anything?
But their idea of democracy is way different, right? Like,
yeah, we don't really have a democracy. It's not even what we have. Wasn't there?
Yeah.
There's something about China we had not leading.
I don't know. They're going crazy.
I don't have it, but they've locked down their people, like something like 4
Shanghai.
million people.
Shanghai, is it? Yeah.
Millions of people
it's
locked
pretty
down
scary.
there, and they're not allowed to leave your house. So people are just like ransacking grocery stores and stuff, and there's children.
Did you see the drone video? People singing on the balcony, and they sent out a drone to stop people from singing.
Now,
Unbelievable.
remember
Not sing.
that was okay 2 years ago. You were in fact encouraged to hang out your window and maybe not sing, but
Bang
they
your
were
pots and pans?
Yeah, bang your pots and pans.
Yeah,
so it was
true.
okay then. I don't know if they did that in China. I don't know if but
England really took that one to heart, eh, Lewis?
Oh yeah, we were proper going for it. I mean, the virtue signal was off the scale.
Every day at
I had
6?
neighbours outside. Yeah, every Thursday, clap for carers. It was called clap for the NHS. Coming out, pots and pans, giving it to some. Whilst they're making TikToks, of course, or half
have
of them,
to.
or a small minority are. Just to clear that up before anyone thinks that I'm some sort of anti-NHS bloke.
I think you might be.
I think we all are deep down.
Well, none of these organizations can be trusted anymore. I was talking to a friend of mine who said, "Oh yeah, I have this doctor's appointment," and I'm like, I feel like Kramer now. Everything that happens to me in life is totally drawn back to Seinfeld. And there's that episode where Kramer refuses to go to the doctor. There's actually 2 episodes.
He goes to the vet.
Yeah, he goes to the vet. But then before that, remember when he convinces George to go to the holistic healer?
Oh,
because
I hate that episode. It's so old and like grainy.
I love it. Those are the best ones. Season 1 through 3. Oh, just
but season 1 in particular, where they have different parents for Jerry, and like it's all Kramer's even dumber and weirder than he is later on. Like, he's not even human in like that first season. I feel like.
Hey, they got to work out the kinks, bro. Got to start something.
I wanted to ask you guys: do either of you know what this is?
Is that Tim Hortons?
Plastic cup.
It is Tim Hortons. Plastic cup is fine, but paper straw is needed.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know about if you even have Wendy's in the UK, but here just changed all their cups to be from paper to completely plastic while keeping paper straws.
Paper straws. When you know that waste in the oceans is like 0.0001% is plastic straws or which is
It's got to be mass now, right? It's got to be blue mass. Yeah. I know they had a story about that in the Bay Area. Yeah, it's like if you is that what we should do?
Indian manufacturing floors.
Like, yeah, if we get we'll get like a Greta's too old now. I think she's 18 or 19. But if we get like a new young person to give us a photo of a turtle or a tadpole or something with a blue mask around its face, then we'll stop doing it. Maybe we should
stop wearing masks.
Yeah,
I'm for it.
I think I have 11 nieces and nephews. I can find one. The thing is that the Democrats, they want somebody who's old enough for them to convince people that they're smart, but young enough for it still to be creepy. That's what they.
and
So they
young
want
enough
it
to be
13 to
used
16
as a shield.
range.
Because
Well, they have a
Yeah,
track
exactly.
record for grooming, don't they? So it's perfect.
You can't say groom. Who got suspended? Pasobiec got a temporary Twitter suspension for
what? I didn't hear
saying
about
something
that.
about groomers.
Yeah, Disney saying that Disney are groomers.
Well, if the
That's
shoe fits, right?
defamatory.
Sure.
But we know
Defamatory
that's
to Walt. Free Walt.
But that's not new, right? I mean, we all know the old stories. I mean, I remember even being a kid and like the leaves spell sex and the building looks like a penis or whatever. Like that's not new,
Aladdin.
right? So
No.
are we pretending?
And the guy
why are we
admitted it
pretending
too.
It's new? Okay, I didn't even know
It was
about that. It was all just hearsay for me.
Disgruntled employees. Before
Okay.
it used to be disgruntled employees. Now it's let's purposely put that stuff in there.
Okay.
Like
all right.
to Disney, everybody. So Lewis, you want to tell us about the documentary you're doing with young Key and Simone? You guys got a nice Alberta to I'm gonna go with Lancashire, England connection. That's just a place I'll name for no reason.
Yeah, that's it. Take
it away.
Me and Kian had the idea of making a documentary or docu-series about the Great Reset because we thought there's so much information out there about this particular subject, and it's very hard to translate it or transcribe it into some sort of format where you can easily digest it. So we decided to take on the project of obviously dissecting a load of information about the Great Reset and what it means. You'll own nothing and be happy, because we keep hearing this everywhere and we've heard it for the last 2 years. What exactly is it, and what does it mean, basically? So we sat down, we chatted, we built out a storyboard on it, on what we want to talk about, and we've decided to make it into a docu-series in the way that Klaus Schwab does with his book, The Great Reset. Because in his book, he categorizes it into chapters. For example, economic reset, societal reset, geopolitical reset, environmental reset, and technological reset. So we thought we would do a documentary series in the way that he's done his book. So we start with a prequel trailer to explain what the documentary is, what to expect, and a bit of brief history and background on Klaus Schwab, how the Economic Forum was made or birthed, and the influences between the World Economic Forum, the influence as well, who's part of it and who's parroting what they're putting out, and a brief introduction on them and other associations with the WEF and what their ultimate goal is. And we're breaking it down into, like I just said, in the chapters. So next one, we haven't decided on the next part of the docu-series. So it would probably be the technological reset, because that has things such as transhumanism, talking about the microchips in the brain, digital identity, all of these subjects. And we've basically molded it down into one big series that you can digest, you can watch and enjoy. Well, not enjoy. I mean, researching this has been horrible. I'm not going to lie to you. I was just explaining off screen to you guys how black-pilled I was after actually researching all this and writing out the script. But we've started the prequel, and this is going to be out soon. I'm actually finished. I just finished it tonight, and I'm going to be sending it over to Kian from Alberta, who's a fantastic producer and editor. And he is going to take what I filmed and then mold it into, the prequel that you can hopefully, and I'm hoping, will equip people or normies or whoever with the knowledge and understanding of what it is and how it basically can be avoided.
Can we see this trailer anywhere, Lewis?
No, because it's still being made. Apologies.
Unbelievable. I saw a video. I mean, what was this video of you sitting in a suit jacket? What was that?
I was going to say, so we finished filming it yesterday, the prequel, and that's on my Instagram of me basically just saying, can't wait to show you guys what we've done. The set is awesome. I went to Ed, his parents' house, bless him. And we sat in like this area with like the bookcase and the dark lighting and the big chair, and I basically read it like a book. And I mean, as much as it's a dark, horrific subject, it's a project that's quite near and dear in a way, because I believe a lot of people are just brazenly walking through life not knowing exactly what it is and what it means. And there are still a very few amount of people, especially who are politically engaged, people that I know, who still think it's a conspiracy theory, basically. And I thought we were over that now. I thought that it was so obvious. How can it be a conspiracy theory when the man has even written a book calling it that, with the words COVID-19 on it, and having chapters? It's a manifesto, is what it is, and what they want to do. And it's all coming true right in front of our eyes. And people are still saying, no, mate, it's too far-fetched. But even though they've said we're penetrating the cabinets in the Canadian government and governments around the world, no, there's no way. How does it work, though? I don't understand. Like, I don't understand the connection between them and how their influence is with governments. I don't understand it. Well, basically, we'll be going through it throughout the series, and we're going through each aspect. Like I said, environmental, technological, geopolitical, societal, and explaining all the nitty-gritty bits on what they are up to and what they want to implement. And it's going to be, well, I'm hoping it's going to be good. I'm excited to get it out because, like I said, it's extremely important. And yeah, I'm sure you boys will receive the first copy as soon as it comes out.
So without I guess giving away too much or getting us banned or saying anything that's so truthful that Susan Wojcicki will have us kicked off the platform, without getting into too much detail, I mean, do you guys have, and I'm asking this honestly, I think we all would like to know, like, do you see any sort of, like, maybe not solutions, but like, how do we pivot? How do people who are aware of this, like, what is that first step into like fighting back? I mean, we can all, sit here and we can make our content and stuff, but like, is it too late? I guess maybe that's a super black pill question. If we can see it, happening, we're living through it, but is there a way to fight back? I mean, without quite literally being a billionaire, which I don't know what
Sure.
I'm not going to pocket check you guys, but I assume you're not billionaires just yet, and I'm certainly not. So how do we fight back against this? Is there a way?
It's a good question. I think from what I've been doing in terms of research, I think I've read quite a lot of what Klaus has been saying in his book, and he mentions a part in his book about nationalism, and he mentions about two specific events, right? Two of the biggest events that scared basically the establishment. And he even admits this, and he says these are the two biggest events that happened in politics in the last 10 or so years that have been basically a threat to globalism. And the two he mentioned was Brexit and Trump being elected. So that was interesting to find that. So I think what it is, what globalism is, they don't like individualism. They don't like nations being nations. They like the idea of full-fledged control upon all of these countries. So from what I can see, it's minor victories at our level, because on a political level, if you're running for governor, or you're running for prime minister, running for a political party, then of course you have some sort of overarching power, and if you can get the message out there without being too tinfoil hat, then sure, then you stand a chance. But I think at our level, there's lots of different aspects that you can do. Small victories. I think one biggest example is about digital identities, or digital IDs, and currency as well. Now, with currency, obviously, as you guys know, I obviously don't need to go in and out, but in terms of currency, they want to, of course, make it a cashless society. So cash basically doesn't exist, because that way, if us three went to a bar and we wanted to pay with cash, the state can't see what drinks you're having or your transactions, because they want to be able to see what you're up to, basically. And it's not conspiratorial. There are going to be people out there that are going to say, well, what? So what? So Boris is watching me on a night out or something. These are just, they're just low level thinkers in terms of what's actually going on, right? And I think you guys can agree with that, I'm sure. But the idea is to use more cash to sort of break that sort of idea of your not being able to use your money in your own way and not having the state look into it. So excuse me. I think I just sneeze. There we go. Sorry about that. So in terms of that as well, another one is travel. They don't want us traveling. So this idea of these hurdles being brought up with I know of course PCR tests, which are awful, and you have to be V'd in to go to certain places, and obviously some countries, including ours in England, have really relaxed on that, where of course the unV'd can go to many countries now, or they can actually leave their country without even taking a PCR test, which is great. There are some countries, of course, that are still implementing this, but the long-term idea is for them to stop you from traveling and stop you from going to all these places and basically conversing in a way, because that's basically the end goal. And I don't want to get too spicy on some of the other ideas that they have, because we will literally be kicked off. So I'll save that for when the actual documentary comes out. But it's all about small victories. And like I said, they want a cashless society. So encourage yourself to use cash a bit more, because there'll be a time where the state will be watching your transactions to the point where maybe it's even a carbon tracker. It'll be under the guise of something else like equity or climate change or lots of different things. So say it's climate change. They'll have a carbon tracker on it. MasterCard are already bringing something out to do with that, where they track your carbon footprint. And if you go over that limit, they could potentially bar you from spending your money. And this isn't conspiratorial. It's all out in the open. You can check that with MasterCard on sites. There's even, I believe, a Finnish or a Swedish company that have already brought out a carbon credit card. So if you go over that limit, it will bar you from spending your money anywhere. So if you buy a flight or something, you won't be able to buy basically food for like however many days until your carbon footprint reduces to normal or reduces for the day. So it's quite a scary situation. But yeah, I think what I've said in terms of lots of different little victories, I think is the key on our sort of class level, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes me feel like I should have just stuck with my my old college days of like, dealing in cash, if you know what I
Sure.
mean, like we're, back in California where I, had a, not, I didn't get a W-2 or W-9 or whatever it is in my job, right? So you could there was years in my life where I literally didn't even carry a debit card. I just had wads of cash from like, transacting and from pot and
Yeah.
whatever. Anyways, so it
Well, the
kind of
state
reminds me of
can't
that.
see that. The
Exactly.
state couldn't have seen that, which is so
Exactly.
interesting, because you would
And they
think
hate
that
it.
they hate it. Yeah,
And that's
because
why weed
they
is legal in California now, is because now we can track it. Like they're tracking everything from seed to sale. And think about this too. In California, back when, people were like, you had to have the medical card at the beginning. When I was really young, I think you actually like had to like maybe have some sort of ailment. But by 2010 or whatever, 2010, 2012, you could literally just call up a Zoom doctor and say, "Oh, doc, I couldn't sleep last night," and they'll give you a medical card. But now, where weed is fully legal and they're taxing people into the ground, you could Google this, you could fact check me on this, but I'm pretty sure that they tax so many legitimate marijuana businesses out of business that they then bailed them out after taxing them into oblivion. So it's crazy, and that's why they want to monitor everything. And secondly, really briefly on the travel thing, again, not to get too conspiratorial as well, but I mean, does this have something to do with why they want you so badly to get into an electric car that you have to stop and charge after you get, I can't even drive from here in
That's
Arizona.
very interesting.
Yeah. From here in Arizona
Yeah.
to my house, to my hometown in California, which should be, if I'm driving, it should be like an 8-hour drive or something, which you could totally do with with 2 full tanks of gas, and there's a gas station every 3 miles down the road. But now if I'm in this electric car, then I have
Yeah.
to stop, and you have to time it out. And I think it takes, like, from what I'm hearing, it takes like maybe 30 minutes to 45 minutes to fully charge a debt, or like a very
Yeah.
low battery. So it all seems very tied in, but the more you try to
Yeah.
tie things together, the more they're going to call you a Charlie
Of,
Day, It's Always Sunny
of course.
conspiracy theorist. It's like,
Well,
when you recognize the patterns, you now become a conspiracy theorist just for
of
recognizing what
course.
has been going on.
Of course. And, to touch upon, you mentioned about electric cars and things like that. I think it's a very important point because, and this is what they are saying. This is nothing that I've said. This is all based on, oh, here we go, nearly. This is all, I'm getting too excited. That's why, on the subject. It's all what they're saying. It's got nothing to do with me. I'm basically just reading from the book. I'm reading from their Bible, essentially, is what it is for them. So when you mention about electric cars, and it's a very interesting one, if you go to the World Economic Forum website, it's all about 2030, and that's happening over here in the United Kingdom as well. Boris has announced a few months ago, and me and Andrew have spoken about this on live streams before. Is the United Kingdom want to ban diesel and petrol in the United Kingdom by 2030. And that coincides with this World Economic Agenda 21, is what they've called it. It's nothing that I'm saying. It's what they are calling it. So this is what's really scary, is not only is it so obvious in front of people, the information is all here. This isn't something that you just pull out of an arse. This is all literally here. So with electric cars, you'll realize it's a short-term solution for a long-term. Well, no, sorry, it's the other way around. They're trying to make it out that it's a long-term solution when really it's a short one. I mean, we don't have to go into the fact that electric cars engines are made by cobalt and lithium, and it's toxic metals, and it can't be recyclable. And if the car breaks down completely, you can't recycle it. So it's not really environmentally friendly, and that it's unethical, and how they obtain the cobalt because it's mined in Africa. And same with lots of different things in the environmental world. Wind turbines with the blades, and it's toxic metals, and they literally have to bury it in deserts and all of this stuff. But it's interesting that you mention about electric cars and the grid and traveling, because, of course, what stops the state from completely shutting it down if they don't want you to go to a certain area, or if they believe that you might be some kind of threat, not in like a threat that we know now, but in a state interventionist type threat. We've already seen like things like freedom of speech just completely eroded. You can't question things nowadays. You're a conspiracy theorist, you're racist, you're homophobic, you're Islamophobic, you're everything phobic, just for even critiquing something. Now, what stops the state from preventing you from doing certain aspects of your life in order to punish you? We're already seeing it happen in China, and a lot of it is being modeled by this. And the World Economic Forum have hailed countries like this before, which I find really fascinating. So, yeah, it is a black pill, unfortunately, but I think it's an important one that people need to start waking up to, because people have so much power to them. And I know it sounds corny and cheesy or whatever, but they really do. When a group of people come together, all types of happenings have happened in pubs and lots of different things. I think you guys know what I mean by that. I didn't want to say the R word, but all of these sorts of things happen when ordinary working class people or ordinary people in societies get together and talk. And I think it's extremely important to be talking about this.
And that's why they want the censorship. That's why because Twitter
Yeah.
basically is the new pub, right? So
Yep.
they're
Yep.
gonna make sure that you can't do that. Trump is gone, and
Yep.
it's all tied in together. You can call me a
Yep.
conspiracy theorist or whatever. But it's just this type of thing that once you see it, you just can't go back. That toothpaste does
can't.
not go back in the tube. It just doesn't,
No, it
right?
can't.
So
Yeah.
we're stuck with it. And maybe this, and I don't want to get too deep into this, and maybe this is a little bit further like further away,
Sure.
but still connected, I think. And just kind of the experience that I've had in San Francisco and New York with the way that they treat this Narcan thing, right? Now, stick with me. I know it sounds a little far fetched, but they
Narcan.
push this Narcan. So it's an opioid overdose medication, right? So
Right.
what we're dealing with now is we have this open border at the south. There's actually
Sure.
been, I don't know if you guys have seen this, the DEA, the Drug Enforcement Administration or Agency, DEA,
Hmm.
has issued a warning that we are expecting an explosion of overdose deaths because of fentanyl. Okay,
Sure.
so that stuff is coming through the border,
Hmm.
and in New York, they are allowing people to shoot up at these safe injection sites, and they're telling them that we will test your drugs for you. We'll test your H for you to make sure that it doesn't have fentanyl in it. And if it does, or so say it doesn't, right? And it's quote unquote clean and it's safe, I guess is the word they use. But if you are a drug addict in New York or San Francisco, they will bring you back to life with this Narcan stuff. So the point I'm trying to make
Right.
is either way, they still have control of you. So if you're a
Of
junkie,
course.
then you are dependent on the state and you're not traveling anywhere. If you're a junkie and
Mm.
you overdose, then they'll give you this medication and say, "Look, we saved your life." So it's very
Mm.
strange at how they come at you from every angle. And like I said, I know that that's not 100% like connected, but it's just another control tool that they're using. And they will play it off as I'm saving you. So we gave you this stuff that while you were overdosing under the bridge, we saved you by
Mm.
giving you this. And now either way you're dependent, because if you're homeless, you're going to be asking them for vouchers and welfare and all sorts of stuff so that you can live. And after you're using for so long, then you're still going to be dependent on the Narcan, which of course they make a profit on as well. So it's a very
Mm.
double-edged sword, and it's just another angle I feel like of this control mechanism that everybody wants to have, and it's really scary because we've
Yeah.
been conditioned now to think that's a good thing. Like, yeah, like, well,
Mm.
I know friends of mine from California who are like they like, oh yeah, Narcan is good. And even last little bit here, I promise, when and I've told this story a number of times, but when I talked to the BLM protesters in the summer of 2020, we're talking about like one of the very first like protests in New York that was organized. And I asked them, I said, "What's the message here? What do you guys want to get out?" And she told me that their message was to alert people to the wonders of Narcan. Now I'm paraphrasing there a little bit, but she was like, "We're doing Narcan trainings," and I expected you to say George Floyd, Breonna Taylor,
Mm.
black people, and she went on to this thing about Narcan, and it's like there's always a hidden agenda, and there's always it's like we've come so far that the truth has been obfuscated or hidden for so
Mm.
long, and that's why we're walking on eggshells on YouTube because if you say something too truthful, they're going to kick you
Yeah.
out. And it's the same thing with the transgenders, right? I mean, once you convince somebody that a man can be a woman, you can now convince them of anything because you have complete control of their thoughts. Because that's the one thing that just can't change. It's nature. But once you convince somebody that nature isn't real, that doesn't exist, then now you have them. You can control any of their thoughts. And it's sad.
The thing that is quite damning. Now I'm gonna really word this in a way that doesn't get anyone in trouble in terms of YouTube. But there are other organizations that have been mirroring the World Economic Forum since the very beginning. I won't give too much away, but Klaus Schwab wanted to start up the World Economic Forum, and he actually sent a letter to the European Commission in order to help him fund the first ever meeting. So, of course, the EU have incredible amounts of influence in this. Hence why, in the book, he mentions that the two biggest threats that have happened in political history of the last 10 years or whatever was Brexit and was Trump. These two groups that mirror each other, the World Economic Forum and this other group, I won't say the other group just in case, are both heavily obsessed with the population, let's just say. And you know what I mean by that. They're obsessed with the population. And there has been many, many meetings, including pitches on ways to how do I explain this? Do you guys know what I mean when I say the population?
Control, or
No. Yes,
like
but
the
Limit
the
the
amount,
population.
the amount
Limit.
of yes,
Yes.
Reduce.
Yes.
Here's
I
what
didn't
I
want to
wanted to
say it.
say.
we have to
The-
use euphemisms like they do, right? We have to
Yeah.
candy coat it like they do.
In terms of the electric vehicles, I could totally see if you're talking about MasterCard, who is part of the Great Reset. Officially, they were in there. They had the president of MasterCard at the Great
Yep.
Reset Summit.
Yep.
If they're doing that, then what's to say during a lockdown they're just like, oh, people shouldn't be traveling, we're shutting down the electric grid. So they're not really taking away any of your rights. They're not doing anything that's illegal. They're just saying we're shutting down the electrical charging stations to dissuade people from traveling, which of course, unless you can, I don't think you could have a portable battery charger for your car because of how much power
It's a bit
it takes.
big.
But
They'll make you get a bike, like a cycle, or cycle
Exactly.
to work, which is
But
ridiculous.
what I wanted to ask you guys is, isn't this all basically based on compliance? And it works based on what we saw in the lockdowns and everything like that. If everybody who's a MasterCard customer says, no, we won't be complying with this, or we're leaving your company for, I don't know, one of these random like debit card sites that you can get that are just literally just a service only for debit. If everybody just said, no, we're not doing that, then I think they changed your tune pretty quickly. So much about this is about compliance and like, how many people here or there in England, Lewis, probably not as much where Eric Wet is at all, but how many people just, they stood on the little circles that say stay this far apart from people. That's not, you can't enforce that by law. You can't enforce masks for the most part because you'd be having police show up everywhere. There's so many things that you can't enforce, and it was just the will of people willing to do it. I mean, people are still wearing masks.
Yeah, they're on the invisible leash. You're right. They're in the invisible cage.
Yeah.
Well,
so
I
it's
think
like
the answer,
they don't even have to be authoritarian. Of course, they were with lockdowns and everything and mandating stores being closed, but I'd say like a good 60 to 75% of the stuff is completely voluntarily done, and they don't even have to do all this stuff. Like MasterCard can just say, okay, we're coming in with a card, and if you want to use it, or all of our cards, and if you want to use our cards, you're gonna have to stay under your social footprint, your carbon footprint limit. And almost all the people are just like, okay, I guess that's the new rule. You know what I mean?
the answer to that, and the reason why they've managed to get around it, is because it's run by behavioral scientists as opposed to just your average scientist or whoever that might look like. We don't know, because it's behavioral. Why do you think that when they were saying, right, we're gonna lift the lockdowns, but we're gonna do it next Monday, or we're gonna do it next Friday? Why not now? If it's completely done, oh, we're gonna lock you down next week. Why not now if it's so deadly? Do you know what I mean? And I'm sorry if that's going to get you in trouble for saying that, but
I think that was okay.
No.
I think that was okay.
that was okay. Yeah,
But
that
we
was
just
all right.
we just never know.
What about
never
that
know,
would have
do
been
we?
not okay? I don't understand.
I don't know, because it's behavioral, isn't it? It's the idea that that they want you to start to mold the behavior in how they want, and it's quite a scary thing when you suddenly realize that and you go, well, hang on a minute. Why are businesses now supposed to close at a certain time? What does the virus suddenly
At 10 p.m.
clock out? I don't understand. But then it gets people in the routine of being okay with going home, with being okay at staying at home and not having to go to work. I think even years ago they were putting out things. I think Google were putting out things. You could probably look this up and find this and show this on the stream. But it was an article written saying, well, Google are doing it. Why don't we just stay at home? Why don't we just live at work? Like, because Google are doing it. Google were allowing their employees to basically stay at work and carry on working throughout. So I think there's something to be said when it's all, you realize the patterns is all behavioral as opposed to actually logical. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah,
and
here it is.
This though, to me, is exactly what we're seeing with the kids, right? It's like it's another form of, for lack of a better term, grooming. It's just they're doing it to a different group of people. So it's a very similar strategy. And I just wanted to say really quickly, I forgot to mention with the Narcan thing that I was talking about, a huge piece of this puzzle that I totally forgot to mention is that when you look into it, and I encourage you guys to do it, you will see that Narcan is heavily funded by the Open Societies Foundation, and I don't know if they have I would assume there's some sort of supervillain dungeon where Klaus and George can hang out and discuss things and how they're going to manipulate the world. I don't know if they've ever even talked. I don't know if George is on the board or is friends with Klaus, but they just seem to both have that very similar supervillain personality, and they've both gotten into this world. They've both gotten to the level where no matter what they say, the media or whatever, I don't know, like the global media cabal can still convince people or condition them to believe that it's a conspiracy theory, right? So
Yeah.
and no matter what happens, he can tell you, like, this is what we're doing. And then the next morning, George Stephanopoulos is going to come on and say, well, that's not what it meant. They're going to clean it all up and people are still going to believe it. And it's absolutely insane what's happening here.
It's
I
frustrating.
like looking at the people who write these articles. So we found the article. This is the author retweeting stuff about an award to Fortune magazine, who she now works for.
Oh, Dominion voting.
Of course.
Yeah, for an article
course.
debunking lies about Dominion voting, big lies versus big lawsuits. So Business Insider is trash. We learned how trash they were when they were doing with Dave Portnoy. They tried to set him up to be some sort of sex offender.
I got a bone to pick with Portnoy right now. He's coming at Tiger Woods for some reason. It's like, why are you coming at Tiger, bro? That's crazy.
But this article was from 2014 saying, how great is Google's campus? Why not just do that? Like everybody.
Yeah, why not
there.
just sleep and do your laundry and eat there and just sleep there and avoid paying rent? It's unbelievable.
Yeah, so like,
is that really is that an ad or is that really part of the little pod there? Like they really want you to live inside. Pod. Okay.
That's what the person slid it head first into it. But like you're promoting like illegally living at work at the first part, and then it's just like, why not just fucking never leave, Louis Brackpool. Luckily you work from home.
You can't afford to pay rent anyways. BlackRock owns
cost
all
the
the
living
property.
is bad.
That's why
cost of living is
I had
the
to sell my background to the trans community.
Yeah, that's it.
Sponsoring every episode now. Nintendo
you make a great
is sponsoring
point.
this, and then the trans community is sponsoring the other side.
But you made a great point. Sorry to go back to it because I'm very Blackpool. But you made a great point about cost of living is bad. Very, very bad at the minute, everywhere in the West at the minute. Taxes up, fuel prices are up, oil is up, gas is up, everything is up to the point where you just go, I can't do this. I can't keep going. And I mean, it's funny how this idea or the idea from them is so many ways and so many avenues to go down. I mean, for example, the WEF or the Great Reset summit was first made in 2014 with that article as well, which makes you start to sort of see the connections in lots of different things once you start to work it out. And it wouldn't surprise me. I say it wouldn't surprise me. The idea of you just completely, well, I've got nothing here in my house. I can't afford to keep the sorry, I can't afford my house anymore with the upkeep and
English is
the
second
bills
language.
play. It is my second language. Joking. Yeah, I can't afford the upkeep in my house. I can't afford food. I can't afford to even go to work. Why not just live at work?
Did we lose him?
Yeah, he was speaking too many truths, I think. We'll just leave him frozen in the background now. Google got to him. I'm gonna boot him out so he can come back in. Eric,
pretty black pill stuff.
We're almost out of time. We'll see if he comes back. I wanted to show people that you're back writing on Tatum Report.
Yes.
What are these new criminal justice reform laws? This is New York. Everybody already knows that they got rid of bail pretty much. And there was a murderer who got out recently and re-murdered.
Is that the one who was actually transgender as well? There was.
I hope so.
Yeah,
that would make it most tolerant. A tolerable murder.
basically, she's walking it back now. The weird thing about this is that it's clear, it's so painfully obvious that this is about some sort of internal polling, right? She was Eric Adams, who I cannot stand. He's almost worse than De Blasio. He was actually apparently up in Albany, the capital of New York, trying to get some people, because he's getting it. He is hearing it from the real citizens of New York. So he went up to Albany, I don't know, back in February or something, to try to lobby some of these lawmakers to walk back this bail reform stuff, and they told him to kick rocks, basically. And now Hochul, whatever her name is, she's coming out and saying that they're gonna do away with this raise the age loophole or something. How? Because think about it, bro. You know that a lot of these people, unfortunately, they're super young, bro. These are little gangsters. These aren't 25, 35-year-old men for the most part. These are like high school kids. Like, these kids are getting they're finding weapons at the metal detectors at the high school and stuff. So she rolled back something that was called the raise the age loophole or something, that's going to hold these young kids accountable. But the scariest part about it is that it literally has nothing to do with good policy, nothing to do with actually protecting the citizens of the city. It's quite obvious to me, and I can't prove it, that this is just from some sort of internal polling data that they got, and they're like, okay, maybe now, and that is still to say that voting is real. I mean, I don't know where you guys stand.
Well, we saw the article. Business Insider said that they won awards for whoever it was. Fortune magazine proved everybody wrong. I believe,
yeah, exactly.
that award.
Now, and we shall never ever forget the Time magazine article about the fortification of the 2020 election, right?
Or when they said they printed Hillary won and had already sent it out. That one too.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Lewis, did Google get to you and kick you out there?
Oh, can you hear him?
Can't hear you.
Technical difficulties.
This guy. No. British internet has failed you, Lewis. You can just sit in silence for the remaining 5 minutes.
That's that's how I figured they were going to do to your HDMI cord. They're just going to cut it off because they don't want you communicating to people.
I got such a long HDMI cord. It's 25 feet. There's so much slack here. Lewis says we can make fun of him when he can't respond. Why don't you go eat some porridge, Lewis? Maybe a crumpet. No,
so they got crumpets, tea and crumpets, and you guys got your poutine and your maple syrup. What do we have? In-N-Out Burger.
You have everything. Sonic.
I've never been to a Sonic.
TGI Fridays.
I think those might be out of business, bro. I'm not sure.
Whatever, dude. All right. You got probably way better Mexican food. I tell people this all the time. The best Mexican food I've ever had in Canada is actually was on the East Coast. It was when I was in the Army. Me and like 4 dudes went to Fredericton, New Brunswick, and to a place called Mexicana Rosa. Giant restaurant, absolutely beautiful inside. Nobody was there. Probably closed after, but it was best Mexican food I've ever had. There's 3 Mexican places around here, and they all suck. They give you slop out of a bucket, it tastes like. I'm talking to you, whatever that is, on Taunton Road East in Oshawa, Ontario, Canada. Forget what you're called. But you suck.
He needs to hop out and hop back in one more time.
The golf course one sucks, and then the one in Whitby sucks.
Because
Los Cabos sucks. Your chips are stale. How do you screw up tortilla chips? You're supposed to make them in-house every day.
Well, I think it's because there's no Mexicans. They get
probably
they have to come all the way through America, and then there we go.
It works. There we go.
Brilliant. Thoughts on
sorry
Mexican
about that.
Food in England?
It was the globalist, mate. They're after me.
There was some marmalade jammed into the plug there.
How's the Mexican food in your neck of the woods? Or are you in London? Right? No.
South, just south of London, or very south coast. What, the Mexican food here? Well, I've heard reports of people, because we've been opening a lot of Taco Bells here. A lot of people having bad stomachs.
You guys are used to it. My brother always used to ask me, like, how do you handle that? Taco Bell doesn't bother my stomach. The only thing that, well, now I'm so old and disgusting that anything I eat past like 9 o'clock destroys my stomach, unless it's like milk. My friend always makes fun of me. Oh, you need your milk. Baby needs his milk. I was like, I will start drinking
Yeah.
milk out of a bottle just to shut you up, out of a baby
Yeah, do
bottle.
it.
But Taco Bell never bothered me.
Mm.
It's like hot sauce that bothers my stomach the most. Or like pizza, chips, soda pops, and we know how I love my soda, Eric. I can barely drink it anymore.
But for the record, Taco Bell does not count as Mexican food, right? We're clear on that. It's not
Taco,
It's a debate.
what's the Baja?
Look,
Baja Blast,
the Baja
and then you go
Blast.
into your Jesse Ventura after that. I don't even live in America most of the year. I live down in Mexico on my ranch in the Bajas.
No, I don't
I'm
know.
a former
about that.
governor.
Oh yeah, Minnesota, right? Was it Minnesota? I think it was.
I was the governor of Minnesota, Larry. Who are you? Why can't I come into this secure facility? I was a Navy SEAL.
Nope, this one's going over my head. Sorry, I don't. I
You don't know who
that.
Jesse
Never mind,
Ventura
mate.
is?
Well, I mean, right? Jesse the Body Ventura. I think he was governor of Minnesota.
Yeah,
at
but
one
he had a
point.
show, Conspiracies, and then he was on RT for a long time.
Oh, I didn't know about that. You learn something
You need
every
to
day.
watch this. He tries to go into HARP and stuff like that, and like when they don't let him into these government facilities, he just says, "I used to be a governor. How come you won't let me in? This is outrageous. I pay taxes." And then he goes to the underground tunnels underneath the Denver airport, crap like that. One of the sources, it was on his show. You know that clip about Alex Jones talking about biowarfare, like 6 years in advance or 7 years in advance? That's from his show.
Oh, okay.
So take that, all right?
All right. I'm sorry.
There's
He
going
just
to be
he
biological warfare. The Patriots aren't going to see it coming. They're going to unleash it from the labs in China is what they're telling people, okay? Infowars.com. Now they're going to take it. They're going to they're going to put the fluoride back in your toothpaste after they've taken it out, make your teeth fall out. The children are going to be stupid. They're already stupid and gay. They're already changing transitions to genders. And now the Chinese are putting the radio signals into the 5G towers, which manipulate your mind. Newswars.com.
Jesse Ventura to me just looks like the guy from Pawn Stars. That's what I think of. He looks like the guy from Pawn Stars.
Now, Pawn Stars is another thing, Eric Butler. You just watch a nice 30-minute Pawn Stars compilation on YouTube. Right after you watch a Bar Rescue compilation on YouTube, your evening is shot. Then, Lewis, you can live the North American lifestyle if you just watch those two YouTube channels whilst eating Taco Bell.
Okay. Awesome.
Is there like a menu item there? Is there like a menu item there that they like taken a British food and made it into Mexican Taco Bell food in some way? Because you know how McDonald's will have like something in China or Japan regional food.
Oh, I think Indian restaurants try and do like fish and chips and things, and it's just like what the fuck? An English breakfast. It's like, no, mate, I'm here for a tikka. Like, what? What's all this? What's all this?
What's your obsession with beans? What's the English's obsession with beans? And everything?
Beans on toast.
You had a
bit of
picture
cheese.
That.
Yeah, a bit of beans
How
on
is
toast.
beans a breakfast food?
Have you ever watched the show Peep Show? Peep Show?
Oh yes,
stupid.
Every episode.
Okay.
Amazing.
Okay.
What's that?
It's a comedy.
Oh,
I haven't seen it's up there. It is up there. It's absolutely hilarious. I haven't seen that. I don't think it's still going anymore, but I think up to like season 5 or 6 or something, and then they kept going, and I haven't been able to keep up. But it was hilarious. I will admit that those guys
so good.
Yeah, hilarious.
So good.
We are on Spotify now. An episode with David Lucas on Spotify, uncut on there. So much swearing. After like 20 minutes, he was just like, "Oh, you're gonna stop now? This is the shortest podcast ever." I put on clothes for this, so he made me go like another 30 minutes. It's really hilarious. Watch that. Unsubscribe. The free version will be out today, but it's much shorter than the paid version on Rebel
because he's
News
talking about like sex and
did you listen to it?
I looked at his Instagram profile and saw some pretty crude jokes, so I just assumed.
The first 5 minutes, and we never censor anything, and it's still barely censored, but I was like, you're gonna have to do like so usually what we do is we like beep just to obscure the swear words, but this time in the first like 3 minutes I was like, we need to like bring the level way down on that because of what he said. And we don't cut it out or anything, but it's just like on I don't know why I'm being censored. On Twitter you could see a woman getting in the but my words hurt you. I was like, we need this is supposed to be a news channel. Lewis Brackpool. You can get all his stuff on the journalist page, or you can type in that URL and follow him on Twitter as well, Lewis_Brackpool. And as we mentioned, Eric is back on Tatum Report. It's not dark anymore. It's light. And of course, you can listen to him on this podcast, which is now on Spotify. And if you're listening right now on Spotify, God bless you.
And follow
We've
me on
also-
Insta. I just hit 10K, Andrew. I told you we did it. We made it.
Oh, well
Eric
done, man. That's awesome.
drunkenly messaged me last week.
I want my
He's like, I'm gonna pass you, bro. I'm going right by you from 9K to 10K, possibly even to 12 or 15. So if you want to hire me, today's price is not tomorrow's price. He said.
You don't remember that
And
Fat Joe quote? Come on, you don't remember Fat Joe?
And I was like, how drunk are you? And you're just like, in 2 to 3 drinks, I'll be wasted.
I'm gonna surpass you, Andrew, soon.
I was not drunk.
I'm not. I can't be verified. This is the crutch I have. It's like Twitter. I'm banned from being verified from anything.
Yeah, well, because you're misinformation, bro. Disinformation, misinformation.
That reminds me. Did you guys see what I did on Twitter? I said, I tweeted, how come people think Rebel News lost its news license? Because we never had a news license. We didn't lose one. What it is the government issued these verification, we'll call them. We can call it a news license if you want, to Canadian outlets in order for people to get tax receipts if they subscribe to them digitally. So whatever newspaper you want to say, let's say the Globe and Mail, if they have a paid service and somebody signs up for that, a Canadian get a tax receipt for that. That's what they're denying Rebel News. So I said,
that's just state-funded media. That's
basically.
Yeah. So they don't want us to have this thing that puts us in the same league as the other news, even though we have way more views than them. That's a story for another tale, you know.
That's probably a good thing.
It's a good thing.
But it's for the people. Of course, we want them to get a tax receipt, so they're unfairly keeping us out of that. So I just thought, I just thought it'd be funny to have people's responses to see why they think Rebel News lost its news license, and all these people reply on both sides of the spectrum, not knowing that I work for Rebel News, I guess. And some people are just like, because it's misinformation, and other people like, because they tell the truth. And like, everybody on both sides is wrong. It's just like, go read the article or the lawsuit and you can see it. But it's just funny to see people respond to me not knowing that I work for them and telling me what it is. That's really funny to me.
That's funny.
From both sides.
That's hilarious.
And then Eric sends me Anthrax in the mail. I have your book somewhere. It's right here.
Yeah.
Can't really see it.
I need to get this. I've been saying I'm going to get this.
Yeah, it got super discounted on Amazon, and then it went back up for a little bit. Nice.
It's underneath my Rebel News thing,
it as
my phone
table.
holder, and my Trump Media Pass. Hey, and then the Illuminati triangle.
So, it's kind of like a coffee table book that has become a coffee table. Good job.
Basically.
I didn't put the iced cappuccino on it, though.
Good. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Eric, after this, send me the link to where I can purchase that.
Look at that.
And I'll
Look at that straw.
I'll get that.
Absolutely.
Look at this straw.
Will do. Yeah, that's garbage, bro. Anything else? Do we have anything else? I mean, we've gone long. We're a little bit long today. I don't know if there's another
good views today. Good viewership today. We were just gonna chat about like some kid, Cristiano Ronaldo, bruised his hand by kid was sticking his phone in Ronaldo's face as he walked down the tunnel. Ronaldo grabbed it out of his hand, I guess, and smashed it. And the kid that's lightly bruised on his hand. Sack up, bro. Ronaldo touched you. Just take your lawsuit money and don't stop taking pictures of your bruised hand. Okay. Oh, Ronaldo hurt me. Well, he's bigger.
That's a big money grab. You gotta go for the money grab, right? That's.
And then the other thing was players collapsing all over the world, like 769 or something.
No, it's normal.
But I was interested.
In total.
I was interested to know how many actually died.
Oh.
Because like 15 was sort of the average. No, I just wanted to know for my own personal pleasure.
Yeah, it sounded like that.
Not for statistical purposes.
And again, Eric Adams coming down with Rona. I mean, come on, bro. Come on. It's like they use that. It's the shield for everything. Eric Adams has Rona now because crime is still going through the roof. He can't change. Rona is their cure-all. Anything happens, just throw Rona at it. That's the reason for it. You can't question it. If you do question it, you will be wiped from the platform. And this is it's a total mess that we got. So I'm still trying to figure out ways to like claw our way out of this, wet paper bag that they've put us in. So I don't know how to do it, but maybe I'll just start carrying cash. And I'm definitely
I encourage people to do that.
Yeah,
definitely not getting an electric car. As if I had the money to buy an electric car.
Yeah,
in my life anyway.
Stuff your cash in your knickers.
Is that racist? That sounds racist.
What word was that? Knickers? New York Knickerbockers?
Yeah. They're trash too.
I was gonna say something else. I forget now.
Oh yeah, there's a
Like
woman who's
cars.
suing Eric Adams. She works for the Yankees, and she's suing Eric Adams because he's letting obviously athletes do whatever they want because they're millionaires and they, I guess, can hold a little bit of like weight over him. But a waitress at the Yankees box or whatever, she doesn't matter. So it's just
Baja.
it's crazy. Yeah, just shout out Jesse Ventura.
All right. Eric will be on my show later this month. We decided Lewis is also going to come on with special guests. I won't even name them because the one with Eric's going on, I don't want him to back out. Lewis is going to be on with someone he's in love with as well at the end of the month. Circle back to find out who that is. RebelNews.com for Lewis Brackpool and myself will be doing the live stream Wednesday at noon Eastern, which is 5 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time in England. Eric's at TatumReport.com. Take us home, Lewis. What do you got? Shout out Getter and Spotify as well.
Obey, consume, reset, mate. No, I'm joking. Do the opposite of that.
Obey,
Semper
consume,
Fudge.
reset. Got it.
Turn it up, Jordan.